Welcome to the network, the educational podcast designed to help our community navigate the four areas of life that I like to call the funky four corners. I've had the opportunity to interview some of my favorite people with one goal in mind: to help the spiritual, physical, mental, and financial health of our people as we navigate this thing called life. Subscribe to the network. You never know, you might need it. Family, we are back. This is the network, the educational podcast designed to help our community navigate spiritually, physically, mentally, and financially. I am your host. My name is Michael Prejean. Today, in the Funky Four podcast studios, we have a guest who is a powerhouse in the world of psychology, culture, and community transformation. He is a licensed clinical psychologist, the department head of psychology of Xavier University of Louisiana, a Melba F. Martinez Endowed Professor, and a 2024 Faculty of Excellence honoree. His work in Black mental health, masculinity, and higher education is shaping the next generation of leaders in New Orleans and beyond. I need you to put your hands together, your real hands and your virtual hands, for Dr. Brian L. Turner. Man, listen, I'm glad to have you back. I forgot to do this. I always do this. So before we get to flowers, let me do this, man. In the words of the great American poet, Jermaine Cole, I know you say it helps, and I'm not trying to offend, but I know depression and drug addiction don't blend. Reality distorts, and then you get lost in the wind. And I didn't seen the combo take boys off the deep end. One thing about your demons, they bound to catch up one day. I'd rather see you stand up and face them than run away. I understand this message is not the coolest to say, but if you don't try it, I know of a better way. Meditate. So we did those in reverse order today. Usually that's how I open, but I like to put something on your mind. BT, how you doing today, man?
Man, look, bro, I'm back with fam, bro. I'm good with you, brother. I am glad to be back. It's been a little while, so that means we've been working. That means we got stuff to talk about. That means we got things that we can deal with, brother. So I'm happy, man. Definitely. I just ended the semester, so to speak. So we good to go. We can flow. The weather has gotten nicer in New Orleans because it got cold here for a minute. We started the year here with a snowstorm, bro. So to say that, hopefully for Thanksgiving and Christmas will be nice and warm. I'm gonna be happy, man. So I'm glad to be back, brother. I know you've been working. I be popping in and watching. So I'm glad to be back in the spot, dog. So let's rock, bro. Let's roll. Where we going?
Listen, man. Well, we're gonna start here, man. We're gonna start with flowers, right? We're gonna start with flowers. So what I want you to do right here, man, is we like to give flowers while they can still smell them. So who are you giving flowers to while they can still smell them?
So off top, man, and this is probably something that I don't know if we'll get to this, but I took a role, man. Shout out to the homie, the big brother for me, James Dabney, Dr. Dabney. I took a role with him over at the New Orleans Youth Alliance. And so one of the things that work has done is reinvigorated my interest and my desire to invest in our future. So I'm giving my flowers today to our young people, the fellas of Noya, the youth leadership that we're running. I'm looking at the young scholars in college from Xavier to Dillard, Southern, across the city of New Orleans and high school. And I'm just saying, man, for the next generation of leaders, bro, the people I know, we're going to continue to encourage and support you because we need you all to step up. So my flowers, bro, are going to the next generation of leaders. So we're here for you. I'm here for you. That's why I know that they got their flowers from me today, bro.
That's good stuff, man. The work that we do, right? You said it's been a minute, since we've been able to catch up because we've been working. And the work that we do, the work that you do, the work that I do, man, is all about sustainability, making sure that the generation that follows us has not only something to step into, but something worthwhile and quality to step into.
Yes.
That's good stuff,
Yes.
man.
Yes. Yeah. And play with it, man. A partner of mine, he actually just sent me the first cut of a documentary that I popped in on. And we're looking at Black men in joy. And so the impetus for him was honestly his son being born and him realizing that he didn't have many memories of his father and him being happy. So um well, it gets emotional, bro, because for he and I and many men who may not have had very close relationships with their fathers, and then when we have friends like you and others who did have close relationships with their fathers, we tend to think about those as the extremes, but we're really trying to move us to the middle. And so we know that over the last couple of years, we've been able to change that narrative and help people understand that Black men specifically spend way more time with their kids and involved in the lives of the children than others previously had thought. And so for me, man, I look at my daughter who at 8 right now. I got to do everything I can to make sure this world is a place that she should be in and that she should survive, and not just survive, but thrive and excel in. So for me, man, yeah, bro, we working, bro. And it's because at this point, Mike, I think there's not much else I really need from this world. There's nothing else I
Amen.
really need. I mean, I've been able to travel, decent home, decent, lived experiences. So outside of just needing a nice cigar and a nice drink every now and again, I'm pretty much okay, bro. You know.
Man, listen, very much the same. So I'm transitioning out of one career into the next thing.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm not even gonna call it transitioning from one career to the next, man. I'm transitioning out of a career into the next thing. And I got three, I really got three main goals, man. And
Yeah.
number one is about my time.
Yes.
I want my time back because I'm at the age my kids are adults now, right? And one day, God willing, I'll have grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
So my time will belong to them. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yep.
that's the number one thing, man. I want to be there for them. Anything they need, I want to make sure that I'm available for them. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So I want to take the other two things on that list, man, are I want to take my folks. I want to take my mom and dad to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I want to take them to Jamaica. I want to take my family to Africa.
Mm.
You know, so it's like I gotta take them. We're gonna make it to the continent, but I'm gonna make
Yep.
sure that all of us make it there. You know,
Well,
man, you mentioned something. Let's kind of touch on that. The narrative that Black men don't spend time with their kids. So where I am now, well, I think where we are now is understanding narratives
mm-hmm.
and who crafts them and what they're, you know what I'm saying, what the purpose of those narratives are, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, here's the crazy thing to me, and just jump in whenever, is that these narratives pop up and we take them and run with them. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll take them and run with them and be like, oh man. And
Yeah,
as a
bro.
community, you know, be out here, man, just firing strays at each other
Mm-hmm.
because we listened to the narrative and took it and ran with it.
So, bro, you just tapped into probably the one that we're gonna end on this because I know the questionnaire, right? But I actually ask this question all the time. When did we become suckers for nothing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you were. I mean, man, look, I remember growing up in New Orleans, bro. You could tell a brother something and him not going to check it out and make sure what you were saying was solid. Now, man, we get the first time we hear something, we run with it. We act like, oh, this is it, and when it's the Stephen A's, it's the Jason Whitlocks, it's the Candace Owenses. Now you got the new breed of brothers and sisters who are playing the game of, it's the denigration of the those who are doing the work. And so when we talk about the TikToks and the Instagrams and the X's, I hope you see my comment about X too, Twitter.
I
You
did.
know what I
I
mean?
did. I
You know, it's
did.
like we get to the point where why are we not more proficient in understanding that this system is not designed for us to be successful in? Does not mean we can't be, but it means that
Right.
there are this is the Indiana Jones ideal, right? That every time a black person, a person of color, indigenous person seeks out their tribute or their treasure, there's all these booby traps, right?
Yeah.
And we can't forget that, bro. But the best way we do it is we need to be informed, man. And so for me, bro, it comes back to something I've been telling my students the last couple of years. I need you to come to Xavier University, Louisiana, and nerd out. I need you to come
Yeah.
here and be your nerdiest, smartest, most intelligent self, because that's what gets me going. You know, when you come here into institutional higher
Yeah, bro.
education, or when we're trying to engage, and you're intentionally being uninformed, or you're intentionally being unenlightened, then I struggle with that, and I dismiss folks, bro. You
Yeah,
know.
man, listen. I can't stand somebody who is willfully ignorant.
Mm,
You know, intentionally ignorant.
mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man. When I was a social studies teacher, man, part of my spiel that I would give my kids every year was part of my job is to help you be an informed electorate.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna go and participate in this experiment of American
Mm-hmm.
democracy, then let's at least be informed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have, especially with my African American studies students,
Mm-hmm.
let's
Mm-hmm.
get some historical base. Let's get some facts, right?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
process. Let's get some critical thinking skills, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then whatever conclusion you derive, from after you
Yeah,
have all the facts, whatever path you decide to take, then that's your path.
that's
But
on
my
you.
job
Yeah,
is to,
yeah,
yeah, my job is to equip you with accurate
yeah,
information.
yeah. And
And I
so,
would
look,
always
man,
tell them, go ahead.
I mean, one of my core courses has been research methods. Um, and what I was explaining to my students is that research methods is not about teaching you just to um, do research. It's teaching you to understand research, right? What we have to do is be better consumers of of what we ingest versus what we digest, right? If I just ingest something, I'm taking something in whole. I'm not breaking it down to the most important parts and components. So when I ingest something, I'm probably taking in stuff that can hurt me and kill me. I'm
Yeah.
taking in things that are harmful to my system. But when I digest something, I break it down to its most like quintessential parts, and I can then, pull away the waste and the unhealthy things and the things that won't help me. When I can discard those, and I can keep the crux of it, the core of it, and that will make me better. But I see, and of course now, man, I look at it when we have to dissect, right? Not dissecting is before we eat something, before we take it in. Now we have to dissect so much, man. So I tell my students, and this is the way I get to, I think, the point you're saying, bro. I said, show me who you follow on social media. Let me see who you allow into your space, into your mind, into your body, into your spirit, because I can then begin to see why you might act and behave the way you do. And so it becomes so important, man, that yes, we have to. And Mike, you know this, man, is that our mentors and our advisors were not always the persons on the front of the magazine. They weren't always the person that was sought after, and I think that's the travesty of this, bro. I want the Dr. Racklers and Dr. Whites and the Dr. Akbars and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Dr. I'm blanking all of a sudden, right? But I want those persons to be the ones at the forefront. those, we have to introduce our kids to those individuals, bro.
So, man, I want to ask your thought on this, okay? And it's directly related to what we're talking about here. I remember Dr. Rackley telling us how Dick Gregory would just be hanging out on the campus at Howard, just available for the younger men and younger women to have conversations with them, to share wisdom, to impart knowledge. And then when I look at today, when I look at the adults today, our generation, the majority, because I was in educational athletics, the majority of the interactions I had with people my age were parents of student athletes, right? And man, lots of great parents, but there was always this subsection who were feeding their children entitlement, right? So when we talk to other coaches and be like, man, what's going on with kids today? And they'd be like, man, the kids are different. And I would be like, no, man, the kids are kids. I think the adults have changed.
Yep.
So I prefaced what I'm about to say with all of that. Are today's adults, is there a subsection of cowards among today's adults? And the reason I'm saying that is because you brought up the elders, you brought up the icons. Where's this next generation? Where is this next generation? Or is this next generation afraid to step out there, right? And be like, hey, here I am. Come and see me. This is what I'm here for. I don't know. What you think, man?
So I think you just latched on to two comparative things, right? So I think, yes, there is a group of people, and I won't just say parents, that this is an all aboutism time, right? It's an all about meism time, right? It's all about me. I have to eat. I have to get my bank. I got to make my coin. I got to do me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, unfortunately, that is also served out of a state of emptiness, right? Because they maybe didn't get what they wanted as kids. And one of my examples that I always use is that I remember thinking growing up and hearing people say things, and myself believing for a while that people who didn't have the means should not have luxury, a PlayStation, Jordans, or a nice car. But then as I got older and I began to definitely delve into my own personal development and growth and in my clinical work, I realized that these are still persons who want to have something in life to be hopeful for. And I saw the difference between those who, especially when we talk about sometimes our political expediency, those who are simply hoarding and gorging themselves off of excess and access, versus those who just want to be able to have a taste to say, hey, this is the good in life that you should be able to experience, right? So I think there's a very reality of there are people, and this is the point that we probably should always recognize, that in our society, in the world, there are those who are always going to seek to engorge themselves and simply be gluttons about what things are. And I will say the other side of it, which is probably the more ominous side, is that there are those of us and those who are individuals who would like to endear themselves more, but we're afraid of what that looks like from the liability, from the endangerment, and from a self-preservation standpoint. People do not want to put themselves out there if it's going to cause them ruin, right? So I am very clear about this. I am still a man. Xavier's homecoming just passed, and I have students who ask me, Dr. Turner, were you there? And I love them. And I say, I can't be at homecoming as you all may think I should, because homecoming is not a place for me as your professor per se to be, right? Now, what that means is I'm very aware of a student's desire and ability to enjoy themselves. So If that means that they want to engage in certain activities, I'm fine with that. But I don't want them to change their behavior because of me. I had my homecomings, bro, as a student. We had our times in the undergrad and younger years. So for me, I'm mindful though that it's not necessarily driven out of a lack of a desire to be present. It's driven out of a self-preservation mindset. I don't want to be put into a situation where my character, my integrity, my cognitive space, right, can be questioned, because too often that's what brings folks down to is a questionable act or a moment. And so I try to be more on the forefront of thinking, is this a place or is this a thing I should do? And so for me, man, I think that's the nature of that beast is, if we didn't have so many people who were simply looking to come up, because a come up ain't necessarily a kid going to the league. It might be filing this lawsuit against you.
Yeah.
You know, it might be catching you in the bad spot, and now you got to give me something that you won't do because I made a mistake. And then on the other side, I do think people have become way more aware of the fact that there are some pitfalls that you have to protect yourself from. And I think about that, man. And I would even say, for my earliest thoughts, man, my mom told me, growing up, she didn't want girls in the house if she wasn't at home. And her thing was, because if you're and a girl in this house and something happens, I can't protect you, because she can claim anything. And my mom was in no way, shape, or form saying women were bad. She wanted me to understand that I have a role in making that decision. That until I'm in a space where I can be better about these things, she didn't want me to fall in any bad spaces. So I put that in that perspective, that I think people are way more desirous of trying to do the right thing, and so they have to be protective of themselves. But I do agree that we have found ourselves in a space where there's a group of people, and as I said, I don't want to say just parents, but people who they're looking for the come up. They're looking for, how can I catch this easy lick and I'll be okay. And they don't care about what happens to you. They don't care that your life may be ruined. They don't care that you may fall out of the ability to take care of your family. I got mine,
And that's, man, I don't know if there's an answer to this question, because like you said, there are people, man, who are looking for the come up. They're trying to hit a lick, and it's not always necessarily making it to the league. It may not necessarily be some other type of nefarious activity. The nefarious activity may be like, let me get this person locked in a corner. Let me get some entrapment going. So is there, man, that's a potential, that's another type of potential booby trap, man. Is there a remedy? Is there a remedy? Because we need, so man, I know we both keep an eye on politics, right?
Yep.
So I think we need voices like so I'm gonna tell you who I like. I like Jasmine Crockett, right? There's many Jasmine Crockett's across the country who don't necessarily have her platform, right?
Right.
But then you get, on the other hand, you get this black man who works for the sports network owned by Disney, who comes around and then just says stuff, right? So on one end, we got somebody who's like, hey, listen, I'm going to be vocal about the things that are going to impact the people that I work for, right? And then on the other side, somebody's using it as leverage for their personal gain. That's what it appears to be, right? So for somebody who may want to be, hey, I'm going to speak out for the people that I work for. I'm going to speak out for the people who look like me. I'm going to speak out for the people who are impacted by issues A, B, and C. What's the remedy for, hey, somebody might use me as leverage. Somebody may use my words as leverage. Somebody may try to, entrap me. Is there a remedy for that? What are the steps that, you know?
I mean, I think what we play with oftentimes, man, is once again, where are we getting our information from? You're talking about somebody who makes $20 million to entertain, and someone who makes about $175,000 a year to try to legislate and make
And
change,
serve.
right? So
Yeah.
you have someone who is paid to entertain, and you have someone who's paid to change, make change happen. So for me, and I think this is endemic of what goes on in what I believe our institutions of higher learning and our more formative, kind of grade schools and opportunities. That's what we should be teaching, right? We should be teaching people to distill that information and to look at what individuals sit at and why they may be saying or doing what they do. And so I just think that's the remedy, bro. I'm gonna go back to one of the things that I think is the most freeing thing in the world, bro, is education. I want my students, and I would love for people to think critically, analytically, and independently. If a person can do those three things, to me, they won't fall prey for the banana in the tailpipe.
That's good. That's good. That's good stuff right there. And I know you got a lot of stuff about education. So let me go off. Let me go off in this direction. Your research on the Black male experience and higher education is powerful. So if you had to name one pressure that Black men face most on college campuses, what would it be?
Fitting in. You got to remember, man, most Black men are still dealing with the fact that going to college is not what we're supposed to do, right? That Eurocentric Western ideal is that we're a beast of burden, and we are mandingo warriors, and we are, simply, trying to be a little PG, but we just think with our penis, right? So when
Yeah.
brothers hit college campuses, man, it's like, so I gotta be this kid that I gotta be able to think and be intelligent, but I still gotta walk a certain way so these cats don't think I'm a punk, so they don't think I'm soft, right? I mean, we've seen this in other documentaries and movies and other spaces, bro. But we can't just go into spaces like, I mean, bro, we do it. Man, look, actually, the homie in his documentary, we talked about this. How, like, when we go to the club, man, we almost 50 years old, B. When we go out, we still have to check ourselves because we got to make sure nobody's trying to punk us. We grown ass men, right? We're supposed to be here having fun. We all got a little change now, or we should. We all have a little status. So we should be here having a good time. We shouldn't even have to worry about somebody wanting to fight or shoot up a spot. But think about it. We're 50. So imagine that 17, 18 or 50-year-old kid, and he's trying to understand how he's supposed to come and fit in, because I got to make sure they're not going to punk me or play me. I still got to show up in this classroom. I'm trying to be cool here. If I got any other issues I got to deal with, but I got to fit in. I got to find my place. And the key to that is that we got to connect with younger brothers with that, man. And I think that's one of the things most institutions of higher education are facing, especially when you look at what's going on now with athletics and NILs, and then you got the Department of Education destroying DEI stuff. What are brothers going to feel like they fit in? And if it's not other men and brothers on campus who do that, how are they going to feel like they fit in? If you coming from New Orleans anywhere, you from murder capital, you're a thug, you're a gangster, you'll kill everybody, you shoot everybody, Master P, Wayne, you just a thug, right? You come from Lafayette, you Cajun, Boudin, but you here. We're supposed to be here to do the same thing. But we get here and we don't know how to easily. We don't know how it's just not, we haven't yet made this connection for Black men easy still. And I was saying, because of NIL, because of money, because of what's transpiring at home. I mean, I still know, man, when I was in Pensacola, I had so many young Black men coming from South Florida and other parts of the Southeastern United States. They sending bread back home to take care of the fam, and they out here hustling. Or they working an odd job to try to get it, because we don't have that easy connection, man. And I think because my experiences, brothers, like, and one of the most beautiful things about going to Southern HBCU is that I have friends for life, right? When I left Southern, bro, I ain't make too many friends after about 25, 30 years old. Most of my partners, most of my fam, my dogs, who I rock with, I've been knowing that for 20, 30 years. Right. And I think about it, because even now, like, bro, like, and I speak the real, because even when young brothers come to Xavier as professors, they looking at me like we beefing. Boy, we as doctors, what is wrong with you? Yeah. Like, we ain't got no beef. I'm trying to get you to the next level, right? But we struggle with that still. So we think about it as a younger man's issue, but we deal with it every day, bro. We go out when we in the mall, if we go to a club, we go to an event, we walking through, we still low key got our little mug on, because I gotta make sure I ain't no punk. You can't try me, you can't play me, right? So I gotta make sure that I fit in. I gotta find who I'm tight with, you know what I mean? And I think that's probably that was my research really pulled out, is that until we find a way to allow brothers to really connect and be comfortable with connecting, and then we could play with the homoeroticism of like same gender loving brothers and what that means, and just all that other kind of stuff around sex and status and money, bro. Because even then, you think about it, you had the cats who they had nice cars, you had cats who was walking, you had cats who barely was making it, eating, you know what I mean? I remember, bro, like, I love the cats, bro. I always open my refrigerator to homies at school. I've never ever thought that if a brother came and said, B, I'm hungry, what you got? Look, B, bro, go ahead, whatever I got to eat, you can eat. But we have those divisions internally, and to me, that is the thing that brothers are still struggling with. How do we fit in? How do we just be together, bro?
Why is it so hard? Aside from I grew up here, you grew up there, I grew up like this, you grew up like that. Or is that the main cause of the issue? Because we grew up differently, I don't necessarily feel safe around you. Because, there's a saying, real recognize real, right? So because we grew up different, I don't know how real you are. I don't know if you're my type of real. Is it that type of thing?
Yeah. I think that plays into it. I think that's a part of the inherent nature of like forming relationships. But once again, I think there's that mediator, right, effect of like society and gender and race and economic status, bro. That so often it's like we have to start stripping back the layers to say, okay, well, let me see who you truly really are, which means that for a lot of us, especially as Black men, we wear our mask, right? I mean, I work at Xavier, and I love the young men who come there, but most of these young men don't come from terrible environments, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, most of us don't. Like, if we're really real, we're not a culture of gangsters and thugs and crime, but we may portray such in an effort to protect ourselves, right? And so I think if we could find a way to really create a space where brothers could feel comfortable with just being comfortable, right? Like, just come in and you can be, nobody's going to necessarily judge you. Nobody's necessarily trying to take from you, because we really here to get this education. We're really here to move the community forward. And what I think about, to your point, is when I look at the leadership that we had in Black communities for so long, they had a shared mission. They just did not have the same methods, right? If you look at it, bro, they've been talking so much about Dr. King and Malcolm X's relationship, right? And for so long, they had us thinking that two brothers hated each other.
Right.
And what did we find out? That was
never was the
not
case.
the truth. Never was the case. But they fed us that. And so,
sitting right here together.
Yeah. Bruh, and you think about it, that is to me the epitome of what we deal with as Black men, is that we know who they is, will pit us against each other, understanding that if we really did link up and do this the right way, we could dismantle this stuff, right? So to me, it's also sister. And I say this because what I really believe is that in places where Black folk are empowered, that's what we need to be calling out, right? I'm not trying to call out. What's up, bro? What's up?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
Nice.
writing. I'm
I'm
writing
not.
my question down so I
Yeah.
don't forget.
I know what it's and yeah. So when I was at the University of West Florida, we had nooses and racial epithets and anti-gay epithets written on campus at one time. And I remember the president at the time stating to me that we was just going to have to wait for those people who believe that to die. I said, but Doc, this ain't old people. These are students who did this. These are current students who are in school now in 2007, 2008, 2009, who did this. They're not about to die. And recently, man, if ever you get to come to New Orleans, please visit the TEP Center, the Tate, Etienne, and Prevost Center, which is a museum and site for the 3 girls outside of Ruby Bridges. Even though it was 4 at the time, but they went to 2 different schools, and so the grouping. But we look back at the fact that we understand that the system was there to keep the division. But what Dr. Leona Tate and what Miss Prevost is doing, what they're doing is ensuring that people understand that history, bro. We can't worry about. We know what the system is supposed to do. We have to reinvigorate our own communities to understand how to reconnect, right, and commit to creating a community that will free us. So for me, that's what I would like to see. I wish we could do a better job of that. I see some people do it, but we need to make that a big deal, bro. That we can strip away the division that the system, i.e. America, has created, and allow us to be community again.
Man, that's important. So here's what I wrote down. So the imagery is, so let's say we're watching one of these mob movies, right, or a mob series, and they would have the sit down, right? Mm-hmm. So, and the sit down, these could be, they may not necessarily be friendly at the time, but the sit down was going to happen.
Yep.
And it was going to be free of violence, and you didn't turn the sit down off. You didn't turn it away. You showed up. When you were called to the sit down, you were called. So I wrote down on my sticky note, confrontation, because sometimes a sit down can be confrontational. Are we afraid of confrontation, or is it that we don't know how to handle confrontation?
Mike, you know this because you was in the classroom. Most people cannot handle confrontation because they're too afraid that they'll be made to look soft, right? Yeah. And so Dr. White in his work when talking about Black Psych talked about the need for confrontation, that it is easy for us to be mad at and want to confront and fight the person next to me that look like me. We don't want to confront the real thing, right? So in that same vein, if we took and made confrontation something that was less life-threatening, right? So to the point, the sit down was always about, hey, something's going on that's threatening what we do, our lifestyle. So the confrontation about what's going on is to resolve it, right? I tell parents all the time in therapy, the 2 things I need kids to see you do is resolve conflict and deal with confrontation. Problem solve, right? That's what dealing with conflict is about, problem solving. So we have to figure out a way. How do I problem solve what the hell is going on that's causing us this disarray? And how do I deal with conflict? We're going to have conflict. We're people. We're human. So I cannot shy away from it. I don't shy away. I welcome confrontation. I welcome conflict because it lets me know you have a brain. It lets me know you think. It lets me know you feel.
Yeah.
If someone agrees with me all the time about everything, I'm scared of them because I think at some point they're going to cut my throat in my sleep. There's no way we can agree about everything all the time.
Right.
So yeah, bro, I think that is endemic to what plays out is that all too often people I'm just not going to say nothing. I mean, that's what we do politically, right? That's what's happening.
That's what we do.
Party.
That's what we do.
We've decided that I would rather go along to get along as opposed to say, hey, I'm not okay with that. And before I say yes, I need you to convince me, show me the evidence about why I need to go along with that, right? Or if you can't, then I'm gonna have to say no to you. You know, but now, man, and Chuck D said this in Hip Hop Beyond Beats and Rhymes. He said we got too many black folks who just want to be rich niggas. You know, they just, that's it. So they go along to get along, bro.
Oh man, there's so much. That's a loaded statement. And listen, we need folks with money, but this is what my line brother told me one day. Shout out to Jabari Morgan. He said, "The Lord blesses me so I can bless others."
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like and he told me this years ago, man. He's like, the Lord blesses me so that I can help people do ministry.
Yep.
You know, and that's what, you know, that's the purpose of having resource, right? So that you can cast your bread upon many waters, man. So this is what I want.
Mike, let me ask you a question. Wait, let me ask you a question. How many of our rappers and entertainers today are funding political movements that will help our communities?
Can I be real with you?
Yeah.
Man, there's not one that I can name. I'm sure there is somebody working behind the scenes, but there's not one that, you know, because I'm gonna be honest with you, man, I get a little frustrated listening to them, you know, listening to the Ice Cubes, you know, who I still listen, you know, to his music. He's an icon in the community. He's done great things, but it appears as if once people in our community get a certain level of money, then there's disconnection.
I'm not doing that political stuff.
You know what I'm saying?
And here's why, Mike. Here's why. Yeah, here's why it's important. Because if you go down a list and, you know, tell anybody, because I do background politics stuff and I don't get involved in the everyday retail, bro. But when you look at a finance report, you're going to find, for the most part, average everyday citizens engaged and involved in certain campaign stuff, right? But then you also find that there are, right. But then in certain spaces, you'll find that there are very wealthy individuals who are not entertainers, who are not celebrities, who are not athletes, who fund efforts and candidates, right? But we don't do that. And the way to do it is because Harry Belafonte and all the entertainers from the 60s and 70s, right, they showed it. You know, when you have Muhammad Ali and you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? These are persons who use their wealth and their status to move political issues. We don't have that today, man.
And oh man, there's so many layers to that conversation. I want to go here before I forget about it. We need, and this is to parents, get your kids in speech and debate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and to talk about conflict resolution and dealing with confrontation.
Yep.
Because that's an arena that we don't often enough take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
Because our young people need to be able to resolve conflict. Listen, if you wait until you're 40 years old to try to start resolving conflict, the damage may have already been done.
Mm-hmm.
So get your kids involved early. And this is the former educator. Well, actually, I'm a forever educator. This is the educator in me, you know, just wanting to, I don't care if your kids don't want to do it. I don't care if they don't like it. I don't care if they don't like the kids that are involved in speech and debate. They will like it much more because here's the thing. We love speech and debate in the barbershop, on the internet. You know what I'm saying? In the hair salon, on the internet, at the barbecue, at sitting around the table, playing spades and dominoes. We love it but there's also an art and a science to it
Yep.
that we have, in my humble opinion, an obligation to help the next generation
Yep.
prepare. Because
Yep.
when I taught my African American studies class, I would wait for this statement to come out every year. It would usually come out around week 5 or 6. Because of white people, I would wait for that to come out. And that was when, like, okay, now they're hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to teach you to think critically. Because that answer, that doesn't fly anywhere. That answer doesn't fly anywhere. So now let's do some research. Let's learn how to craft some arguments.
Yep.
Give me some evidence to your response.
Yep.
Right. And then, man, we got to the point one year where I had my kids writing an essay on reparations. And they were just like, man, coach, can we just do one of those evidence and response worksheets? Because I'd rather craft it like that than have to write this essay. You know, so I'm like, no, we're gonna write this essay. But man, we got to be able to resolve conflict much better than we're doing today. Because just to kind of circle and bring this thing all the way back around, because there are booby traps and the kids know it.
Yep.
The kids know it, man. Like, and I'm talking about, I worked in high school for years, and they're coming into high school. They are not unaware of the challenges in front of them.
Right.
So we have an obligation to prepare and equip them for whatever's next. Listen, you are in the network. I'm your host, Michael Prejean. I got the hood head doc, Dr. Brian L. Turner. And listen, man, we just been chopping it up, talking about the Black male experience and higher education. And a lot of times Black men go into the arena of higher education with an identity crisis, not really sure who we are when we enter into that arena. So y'all tap in. Let me put his information up here on the screen, man. Y'all tap in. Y'all follow the NO Jaguar 504. That's NOJAGR 504, man. Y'all go and follow Dr. Turner so you can know what he's got going on. Doc, let's do this, man. We're about 47 minutes in. So let's I'm gonna ask one more question, man. Then we're gonna get to the funky four corners, which is really the epicenter of the network. So let's clear up one misconception about mental health. So let's just do one, because I'm sure there's a lot of myths out there. So what's one myth about mental health that you want to clear up today?
The biggest myth that I would clear up today would be that you can, at any point in time, avoid taking care of yourself. Do not hand over to anyone else via drugs, alcohol, sex, work, or food your wellness. Be your own captain of your mental health. Be your own master of your mental health. Take your time. Figure out what it takes for you to be healthy, for you to be well. And those things that don't, get rid of them.
Matt, this is just a generic question that people tend to ask. So I'm going to ask it. Why do people just give up that personal control?
You know, Mike, I would say for me, what I've seen, there's a point where if I let you do it, then I don't have to be accountable for it. Right? I think about our kids, right? You know this, Brian. And you know, man, look, let me take personal right quick. I always think about how I see these opposing poles in our friendships and relationships, right? So my daughter's 8, your kids are grown, right? So I need to talk to you about how to get through the next couple of years, right? Because she drives me crazy.
Prayerfully.
Right? Well, yeah, definitely that. And I need to find some more ways to make money, obviously, right? But what I think about my daughter, your kids understood that no matter what, we got them. That is a trust. That is a faith that we instill in our children about who we are, right? I expect that from her. But as she grows up, she's going to have to learn how to take care of many of these things her own.
Yeah.
I'm gonna still have her back, but I need her to become better. Like, I mean, look, she's rolling, bro. She's rolling. She's on all the honor rolls. She's one of the top students. They love her at the school, right? She's done lots of things in the community. She loves being able to be a person of goodwill. But right now, she trusts me to do a lot. I got to make sure she has food. I got to make sure there's water, there's lights, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think it's easy for people to fall into a more childlike state because it means someone else is accountable, man. And so what it also means is that we have to prepare people better for adulthood, for autonomy, right? And I think people sometimes are afraid of that, bro. So that's why it's easy to hand it over, because if I'm not autonomous, then if something bad goes on, you know what I get to do? I can blame you.
I can blame somebody else.
It's your fault, right? You did not do what I needed you to do for me. Whereas if I don't take care of Brian, then I have to be accountable. So I think that's the thing, bro. Like people do appreciate when others take care of them, but I think that's the piece. We have to get people to be comfortable with autonomy and to have control. So
yeah, and you know, man, and the answer is constant. Let me I think that's the best way I can say it, right? So it's not something that you do every once in a while. It's something that you do every day, right? And learning how to take care of yourself, and learning how to take autonomy, and learning how to be responsible, and learning how to teach people how to take care of themselves. It's not a one-time thing, right? So I had this when I was coaching. We had this one thing, and it was like, listen, if we teach it one time, it's like teaching it never. Right. So you have to constantly revisit it. It's about repetition. Right. Repetition. You know that as a former student athlete. All right, man, let's do this. Let's get into the funky four. All right. So let's talk spirituality just a little bit, man, just for a couple of seconds. What's the single best piece of spiritual advice that you have received? What you got for us?
Always speak life, prosperity, love, and success into your world. What you speak shall be your God. Isaiah 18:21 says, life and death is in the power of the tongue. Those who speak shall eat the fruit thereof. Speak life. Stop speaking death. Stop speaking failure. Stop speaking these things that are antithetical to who you are. Speak your greatness. Speak your excellence. Then walk in it. Live in it. Enjoy it and appreciate it.
You know, man, I don't think I'm going to just encompass all of us who are living, walking, breathing. I don't think we really believe that. Because when I tell you, man, we be saying whatever. We be saying whatever, BT. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I had my class laughing today, bro. In class, I said, look, man, any woman I ever dated, if she not with me now, that's her loss. Hey. They dying laughing. I said, I'm just saying. I said, now maybe she went on and got married and is happily after, but she gonna have a little part where, but what if it was Brian?
Hey,
that's what I believe.
Hey, if you don't, anyway, let me not go over there. If you don't believe that you are that person,
I'm him. You him. We is him.
You got to believe that you're him, that you're her. Now, you got to have some balance. Right? Mm-hmm. Because if you believe that you are him, and I'm just talking to the general public, if you believe that you're him, she should also believe that she's her. Right? Now, the coming together of those puzzle pieces, you know, you got to understand the puzzle pieces got to fit together. Here, so it become his and hers.
Yeah.
But if those puzzle pieces don't fit, it's all good.
How can
you can't say she's not her?
If I think she here, but I think I'm here, we ain't gonna fit.
That's unequally.
But if I speak that I'm here and I'm speaking that she there, then when we link up, then we all that, bro. So yeah, bro. Look, I believe that, man, Mike. Look, and I said it because I tell my daughter, I said, babe, ain't nobody smarter than you. Can't nobody be. Can't nobody be better than you. You
I
got to.
told one of my former players day before yesterday. I said, "Hey, you're that girl. I
Mm-hmm.
need you to know that you're that girl, and don't you ever
Yep.
forget that." So, man,
Yep.
the number one thing that I noticed, so went through doing exit interviews, and the one thing I noticed in these young women that I was coaching was that there was a real crisis of confidence.
Hmm.
A real crisis of confidence. So I made mandatory reading over the summer. We bought a book called The
Yeah.
Confidence Code for Girls, right?
Yeah.
And one of the main sources of that lack of confidence was, man, these kids were comparing themselves to other people, like completely missing
Mm-hmm.
all of the great qualities that they had. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? So
Yep.
it's like, so when I tell you, hey, you're that girl, I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not
Mm-mm.
saying that tongue in cheek. You're that girl. So we need more. Listen, BT told you. He told you, man, speak life. Speak life. It's in life and death is in the power of the tongue. So you speak death.
And Mike, what's funny as you say that is that, and see, to me, I'm going to say these things work together. What I see in my therapy practice is a lack of identity, and identity is based on confidence, right? Because if I'm
Yeah.
comfortable in who, if I'm confident, then I'll be who I want to be. And so I agree with you that too often our kids are not being told who they are. You are great. You are amazing. You are smart. That's who you are. You're not a figment of someone's imagination in this moment. You're not a mirage of stuff. You're intelligent. You're smart. Even today, and man, it's funny, the synergy. So the day we talked about in class, what's a healthy personality? The first one is identity. The
Mhm.
second one is healthy relationships. And the third
And
one,
you go
hmm,
ahead.
and the third one is just rooted in your ability to be what? True to oneself. So if I know who I am, if I'm connected to healthy people, then I'm gonna be good with me. Right? So
And
so if I start at identity, how many of our kids are not being told who they are at home or being given healthy models, right? And I think we talked about this before, but I'm gonna bring it back up, man. But I love telling people you gotta pick your mirrors, baby. Who are you
that's right.
using to reflect upon you who you are? I can't
That's it.
I can't pick unhealthy people, man. I can't pick broken people. I can't pick people who have parts missing to be my mirrors. I have to find healthy mirrors. That's why when we talk about our mentors and advisors and the people who poured it to us, I look back, bro. Them people were some good mirrors, bro. They showed on
Man,
upon
listen.
us who we could be, and it is borne out.
And here's the thing, BT. Since I have left Southern University, I can count on less than one hand
Mm-hmm.
the number of mirrors that I've had with that amount of quality.
Yeah.
Man, there is, look, and I know this, I tell people this. If you can't tell me something that I don't know, if you can't teach me, if you can't provide me a great example, anything you say to me is falling on deaf ears.
Yeah.
No matter what your title is, no matter what your title is, because of,
Yeah.
man, listen, because of the way I was raised. And I'm a look, flowers. Let me give at MP Moss, man. Let me give Carlton Handy his flowers,
Yeah.
right? Pulled me aside one day, and all he had to say was, "Man, you know better than that." You know what I'm saying? At Southern University, Dr. Reginald Rackley. I used to show up. I've told this story before. Had a Tuesday and Thursday, 8 to 9:30 class. Man, I wasn't trying to show up at 8 o'clock. I'd show up about 8:30, 8:45. He pulled me aside one day and said, Brother Prejean, Brother Prejean, you could be an A student if you wanted to. Man, that was the first time somebody ever said that to me. I was in college, BT. Now I know the standard my parents set for me, but somebody outside my classroom, I mean, not outside my classroom, somebody outside of my home environment. That's the first time somebody said, hey man, you could be this. Man, come on. All right, BT, listen. Let's talk about physics, man, because we could go and on and on. Physically, man, what's the best physical advice that you've ever been given? Oh, say it one more time.
Stay in the gym. 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 Now, even when you don't want to go, you go. You do something. You gotta build your body to proverbially last forever. Now, I say stay in the gym. That also includes the other stuff, right? Eat healthy. I know I'm smoking a cigar, but I don't smoke every day. I don't smoke a whole bunch, but it's a part of my leisure. Reduce your alcohol consumption. You know what I mean? Bro, Mike, I wonder about this, bro. We need to do a sleep study. And I say a sleep study of how much we didn't sleep in college. Because see, now, bro, you can't stop me from going to sleep. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to get my rest.
I listen. We started recording at 6. I woke up from my nap at 5. I know I put my head on that pillow at 3. Man, we got Doc Assad too over here on IG talking about fasting. And listen, I'm gonna tell you, man, listen, Doc Assad too. Fasting, that's the one I know how valuable it is, but your boy be fighting it. Your boy be fighting it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need to do probably a good 72 hour, man, fast, at least probably sun up to sundown. I'll be fighting it. So here's the thing. I told my wife this. I said, look, what's not going to happen is you not going to be pushing me in a wheelchair. Or one of them little, you can walk on it on one side, but on the back side of it, it's got a little seat where you can sit and scoot. I say, no, we ain't doing that. I say, I'm not doing that to you, and you're not gonna do that to me. You know what I'm saying? We not gonna
right.
The little saying I love, it ran in my family until it ran into me.
Right.
So we gotta do that. All right, BT. Mental, emotional. We're talking about the best mental or emotional advice that you have received that shaped your mindset on emotional intelligence. What you got?
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be good with this, bro. And this is something that I continually strive towards. But first and foremost, tell no lies and live in your truth. Cry when you need to. Laugh because you can. Hug and kiss your loved ones. Do nothing you will regret. And give freely. That's all I got, bro. Do those things.
Man, Shannon Sharp, an American treasure. Shannon Sharp is an American treasure.
Uncle Shay. Uncle Shay.
Listen, he said he lived with his grandmother raised him, right? And he said his grandmother told him, don't never come back into this house and have to tell me you sorry for doing something.
Yep.
And man, when I heard that, I told my kids the same thing. I said, man, don't ever come home and have to tell me you sorry for something you did. Don't do anything you're going to regret. All right, BT, this brings us to the financial corner. We're talking the funky four corners of life, spiritually, physically, mentally, and now financially. What's the best financial advice you've received?
Do not live a life where you feel you have to spend money just to spend money. If you feel you just got to spend it, it ain't right. You only need to spend money. You only need to do things because it's going to move you forward. I see too many people, and I'll take this caveat to say this, man. I remember Cardi B dropped a line in a song. She said, who even checks for a comma, right, when she's shopping? And I remember telling my students, I said, I want y'all to think about that, right? I know people who literally all they look for are deals, right? When I went and bought my car, I negotiated cash money because I had cash money. I wasn't trying to pay full price. When I go to the mall, I'm trying to pay full price. When it's going to go on sale? What a clearance rack. you know.
There it is.
So,
Now, I need that Dillard's
so
65% off sale.
yeah, bro. So for me, and I think this is a cultural kind of thing, but we got to get people. And my advice would be to make sure that when you're spending money, it's gonna better your life. You know, I don't really like to wear items with large, emblems on them. Those people ain't paying me. You know, I try to wear things with messages, that speak to people. You know, you know what I mean. I try to do things, man, that last, and I'm digging the photo, the poster behind you, make love to culture, because that's a message, bro. That's the type of stuff I want people to spend on, right? So to me, bro, let's stop spending money just to spend money, man. Let's make sure it's doing something to moving us forward.
I tell you what, man, I would love to see Cardi B back somebody politically. We like a little hood. We like a little ghetto. We like a little ignorant. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing, man, that I kind of like about Cardi B. She a little hood. You know, she can be a little.
And I love what you're saying, because it plays really into the thing that I think really is about the financial question is, things ain't really gonna make you happy. I look, bro. You know, being from Louisiana, I love when the homegirl say, "If you bring me 5 pounds of crawfish and a daiquiri, I'm happy." Right? Think about that. That is a true essence of like finding joy and finding peace and being able to enjoy what it is. But you want to know what pound crawfish, corn, potatoes, turkey, next smoked sausage, etc., something good to drink. The weather's nice, and we just chilling. I don't need to be in a suite at some luxurious affair. I don't have to be in a tuxedo, because I feel pretentious sometimes in that, bro.
Yeah.
I don't feel myself. You did. I need to be able to just sit and chill with my people, bro. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I can do it. I can put on the tux. I can be bidialectal. You know, I can do that. And I can do this. I'm more comfortable with this.
Yeah.
Right. So, man, I'd love to see Cardi B, man, get involved in political stuff.
Politics,
you know. But just because, man, listen, because she's not mincing her words. You know, and that's one of the things I really
Mike. I know we extended. I'm gonna shout out the homie Doc aside, bro. Love you, brother. Glad to see you on. I think about this because this is what this plays out for me, right? And you know, I'm gonna make sure I say this because I'm gonna be sensitive. By no means is what I'm about to say to in any way promote the demise of any individual. But the good thing about Charlie Kirk was he showed the fact that you can speak your mind. People can speak their mind. And as I challenge my students, who in our community speaks their mind, right? We got Jasmine Crockett, we got AOC, you know, we got individuals who do it, but that's what we're missing. We're missing somebody who has the internal fortitude and, you know, the ability to say, I'm going to speak what I believe is real. Now we got to give them some facts and some evidence to play with it, bro. But that's what we need.
Right.
We got to have some individuals who are willing to say, look, let me talk this talk. You did.
And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say this. This some people will find this controversial, man. But I like Charlemagne the God. He may not always be 100% accurate, right? But he's not afraid. He's not afraid to get involved and put it out there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, man, I don't listen to the Breakfast Club as much as I used to, but Breakfast Club has this thing where they say 100% righteous, 50% righteous, 50% ratchet. And I always say that's 100% accurate, because that's exactly what it is, man. So
And you know what I give Charlemagne the God credit on in the last couple of years of his work? When he's incorrect, if he oversteps, he comes back and corrects.
Yeah.
He'll own up to it and he say I was wrong. And that's what I can appreciate about what that brother has been doing, is that he will say what he feels, thanks in the moment. When he gets better information or change, that is actually a dynamic that we don't tend to see a lot of times with people in his position. If they say something, I'm saying that's what it's going to be. That's it. And I appreciate him for saying that.
And so for me, you know, because I know people are critical of him, but I'll say this: when it's election time, anybody who is somebody, they're on the Breakfast Club.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That
So
is.
that lets you know that there's some influence and some
Yeah.
sway there. All right, BT man, let's play a game with me. We in here just yapping our traps, man. Play a game with me. We're gonna go either or, agree, disagree, and then we're gonna hit some word association. You ready for this?
Rock with it. Rock with it.
All right. Clinical work or research?
Research.
Research. All right. Therapy session or a classroom lecture?
Therapy.
Okay.
Session.
All right. So silence during healing or dialogue during healing?
I'm gonna say dialogue during healing. Dialogue.
Okay. Okay. I got a good one right here. Mentorship or activism?
I'm gonna say mentorship with the caveat that good mentorship leads to activism.
Amen. Amen. All right. Jazz. You going to a jazz brunch or a second line?
I'm gonna do the jazz brunch because growing up I could be at the second line because that's what it was busting heads. You heard me?
I got you. I got you. A little,
Yeah.
you know. All right. Agree or disagree? Healing has more to do with honesty than time.
Agree.
All right. Black men are performing masculinity more than they are living it.
Disagree.
Okay. All right. Check this one out. Colleges are not emotionally prepared for the students they recruit.
Agree.
All right. Stigma, not access, is still the biggest barrier to mental health.
Agree.
Education is still the most powerful weapon that we have.
All day, every day. Agree.
There it is. All right. Let's do a little word association. All right. Faith,
Love.
manhood,
Peace.
New Orleans,
I just had this whole sentence just went. Fun.
HBCUs.
Wakanda.
Yes, sir. Healing.
Insight.
Okay. And then last one right here, legacy.
Longevity.
That's good. That's good. All right, let's give those who are watching or listening to this, who will be watching or listening, let's give them some good medicine, man. What's one thing you prescribe to listeners that's been life-changing for you? What you got?
Man, look, I got three. I hate to do this, but LaRussell, Lareezy, William Murphy, the Just Shall Live. Listen to all three of them in that flow.
I love LaRussell.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the crazy thing, man. My brother don't like him. Like, we'll be somewhere, man, and I'll be on the aux or whatever. He'd be like, man, don't put that LaRussell on. I'll be like, come on. Like, come on, man. Man, I've been on LaRussell for a few years, man. Love LaRussell.
Yeah, good music, bro. Good music. Lareezy is a little homeboy from New Orleans. Lareezy is a little homeboy from New Orleans. So if you ain't heard about him, bro, the boy tanned it up. Good music, good lyrics, good everything, bro. Just do that. I should have said D1 too. D1 just dropped this compilation with Man and Fresh and Juvie, bro. But yeah, bro. Just bro.
Yeah, Lareezy. I've touched some Lareezy, but not. I ain't gotten deep into it yet. Man, like D1, you know.
Yeah.
What do you say? Excuse me. I gotta let the Most High use me because God working on me, but He also working through me. Yeah, like D1. And Willie Murphy. Yeah, man. I've been on Willie Murphy for a minute as well, man. Love some good William Murphy. All right, BT. Man, this brings us to the very last thing in this episode, man. We call this You Didn't Ask.
You didn't ask.
So what is something that listeners did not ask, but you're going to tell them anyway? What you got?
We have got to teach and learn the history of indigenous Black and brown people. If you ain't doing it, go get on it.
Look, and I'm going to say this. Don't rely on your public school system to teach these things. Okay? And I'm telling you this as somebody who taught this in a public education setting, because there is a very active and lively movement to get rid of it. So, mamas, daddies, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, you know what I'm going to do? Man, I'm going to give you somewhere to start. There's a deck of cards that you can buy with all these historical figures on it. So what I want you to do is I want you to go get that deck of cards. I can't remember what it's called, but just look it up. And I want you to play the game of matching. Remember how I used to turn all the cards over?
Mm-hmm.
Used to call it memory. Memory. I want you to play a game of memory and learn about all of those historical figures. Learn the history of Black, brown, and indigenous people, because there's a lot more there than you would ever realize. Man, listen, BT, before we get out of here, man, talk about Baba Nelson Mandela.
So, brother, we done tapped around this all day long. So it's so funny,
all
synergy and what we play at, bro. But Baba Nelson Mandela said education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And the longer I've been in higher ed myself in terms of a lifelong learner, I am so invested and so understanding more and more that education is the one thing that we can use that can change the world. So take your time, engage your collective and individual intellectual inquiry. It is the tool that we need to truly free ourselves. Don't mean you got to go get the degree, but learn, read, engage each other, push each other, tap into intellectual inquiry.
That's good, man. There is a passage in the Christian Bible that says the people perish for lack of knowledge. And that's one of those that we will call that a universal principle. That's a universal principle. Mm-hmm. It's timeless. Mm-hmm. That is a timeless principle. BT, man, like you said, man, it's been too long. This is the network. Before you dip out, I need you to hit like. I need you to subscribe, smash that bell so you never miss an episode. Doc aside, I got your email address. I'm going to hit you up real soon. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts, drop us a 5-star rating for a quick review. It helps us grow the network community. Follow us on IG at podcast_with_Prejean. Check the show notes for good medicine and the advice you didn't ask for, but we gave it to you anyway. Again, this is the network, your spot for elevating mind, body, spirit, and finances as we navigate life together. Subscribe to the network. You never know. You might need it. I'm Michael Prejean for the Hood Head Doc, Dr. Brian L. Turner. Until next time, y'all make love the culture.